Good morning and welcome. My name is Diane Hockenberry. I'm the Director of PR and Communications for Iridium. And I'd like to thank you for joining Iridium, Thales Alenia Space, and Orbital ATK as we celebrate the latest accomplishments in the Iridium NEXT program. To give you an idea of the event program for today, we'll start with executive remarks from each organization, followed by brief Q&A from the media. We'll take questions first from the media here at the factory, and then from those tuning in via the webcast. If you're dialing in remotely, you can submit your questions to me, diane.hockenberry@iridium.com, or the email given to you in the media alert. After the Q&A, we'll have a brief photo opportunity here in front of the production facility floor before we adjourn down the hallway to my left to the INT high bay. There you'll have a chance to view the completed satellites for the first time and take photos. Please keep in mind that we have strict regulations around the use of photography and videography while you're here in the manufacturing facility. No flash photography is allowed. You've been provided with cards giving you guidelines around the use of photography, so please take a look at those or ask any of us if you have questions. After viewing the satellites in the INT high bay, there will be another brief opportunity for you to take photos there before we will conclude the webcast. For those of you here at the facility, you'll have an opportunity to take a guided virtual tour of what occurs at each of the stations in the assembly line on the production floor, and also to go into a second-story observation room to see the production facility from a higher vantage point. If you would like high-res photos of all of the satellites as well as the activity occurring at each station, you can email me with that request as well. And for those of you here, those photos are provided in your media kit. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Iridium CEO, Matt Desch.
Thanks, Diane, and thanks for all the great work you've done to get this ready. And welcome to all of you. Thanks for joining us as we celebrate the latest achievements in this very historic Iridium NEXT program. I welcome you to Orbital ATK's satellite manufacture facility, where our Iridium NEXT satellites are assembled, tested, and integrated on their way to the launch pad by Thales Alenia Space and Orbital ATK. And I am pleased to be joined today by Bertrand Moreau, who is Vice President of Telecommunications at Thales Alenia Space, and Frank Culbertson, who is President of Orbital ATK's Space Systems Group, and you'll hear from them in a moment. So to provide some historical context that brings us to this milestone today, I'd like to first recognize that the existing Iridium satellite network began launching about 19 years ago, specifically May 5th, 1997. It also emerged from this general area. This in Arizona was the birthplace of that network as well. It's interesting, we're back here again at Orbital ATK's facility with some of the same people, by the way, who were involved in that first time. At that time, Iridium represented the world's largest constellation, largest commercial satellite constellation in space, with an operating network of 66 satellites going around the planet in low Earth orbit. And that is a distinction that still remains today. Now, although the company business model faced some initial challenges, we emerged from a near decommissioning of our network 20 years ago by changing our business approach, securing some key contracts, particularly with the government, but then rapidly with commercial industry, and by expanding dramatically our product portfolio. In fact, our satellites, which are in space today, were very, very flexible, and they were uploaded over the years with lots of new software to enable new services, particularly data services, and not just the voice that they were originally designed for, and that created a path for growth for us, which brings us to the successful company we are today. But this is ancient history now. You can read about it, actually, and the media here have been given a copy of this. This is just out in the last couple weeks here, a book by an author named John Bloom. I'm not promoting it per se, called Eccentric Orbits, but it's certainly a very interesting, well-documented, well-researched book, and kind of fun for those of us that has been a part of this program for so long to see kind of the mass the mass media writing about the interesting history of the company. Today, Iridium thrives really thanks to the use of very unique architecture in our network. We're still the only company to use what's called inter-satellite links and onboard processing, which gives us a lot of natural advantages. It gives us the best coverage in the world of any operator. It gives us the lowest latency. It allows us, our devices, to use small antennas and low power to allow people to move, to get connections on the move. And it's all delivered through one of the largest partner ecosystems in the industry, which innovate around our network and then take our services to market to their customers. So as the only truly global satellite operator, we now serve the critical communication needs of about 800,000 subscribers in markets such as government, maritime, land mobile, machine-to-machine, and aviation. And it's no surprise, really, that the marvel of Iridium technology and the financial transformation the company is gaining attention as we are about to embark on the replenishment, maybe one of the largest tech refreshes around, as we replace that network in space with Iridium NEXT. So in addition to, by the way, to John Bloom's book, which is, you can get publicly, a more local book has been created by a friend of ours, a man named Dural Hillis. He was actually the general manager of Motorola's space division out here in the Arizona area and was one of the, actually the original manager, if you will, for the original Iridium program. And he's created a book that literally is just self-published, local, and is more focused, really, frankly, on the Iridium team that created the original satellite constellation. It's called Creating Iridium. A lot of stories. I wrote the foreword and the last chapter for him. I also gave the media this book, maybe less commercial in some ways, because I'd say it was more of an ode to the amazing innovation and hard work by the team. But many of those team members are still involved in the program, both in Iridium and in our partners at Orbital, ATK, and other places, and I think they'll find that quite interesting. Now, one of the things I would suggest is that at this point that we're having today, watching our satellites go off to the launch pad, if you will, at that point in time in 1997 was a very, very different time. The teams then were moving so fast. I would say that the satellites were not nearly as mature as the satellites that you're going to see today. The hardware was there, but in many cases the software was still at a very, very early stages, and it's all documented in books like this as they had to fix a lot of things in space. And I think it was very important in the program as we work with our partners at Thales, Alenia Space, and Orbital ATK that this time around, you know, with all that incredible experience that we've gained over the last 25 years in this program, that would embody in much more powerful satellites, which were really ready to go when they. And we are really ready to go right now with some very, very sophisticated, well-tested, and powerful satellites moving forward. So getting back to Iridium NEXT, building on the success of our existing network, we are celebrating today the imminent launching of our second-generation satellite constellation, which we call Iridium NEXT. It has the same crosslink architecture. It will be replacing every satellite in space in real time, really. And these satellites have even greater functionality and faster broadband speeds. Now, this program is long in the making. I've been with Iridium 10 years. It's been sort of in process at least that period of time, but I would say specifically what you're seeing today is about 7 years or so in the making, and it really has required tireless effort by all our technology partners here, as well as my own team here at Iridium. Since 2008, we've achieved many milestones that lead up to this moment, from selecting our satellite prime, Thales Alenia Space, to signing SpaceX as our launch provider and obtaining the needed financing for the constellation, to upgrading the ground station infrastructure and completing the first call over the Iridium NEXT hardware. Each milestone brought us one step closer to the day we have today, with the ultimate goal of providing a truly next-generation global network. Now, through its expanded capabilities, this new constellation will drive new partner opportunities and a lot of more innovative products that we're known for, like Iridium Certus, which is our advanced multi-service platform that will deliver global, reliable, enterprise-grade services at speeds up to 1.4 megabits per second. Now, Certus is going to be a very good complement to other satellite broadband technologies by delivering operational and safety services for maritime and aviation customers, land mobile remote connections for things like push-to-talk, telematics, and the Internet of Things, and some very unique services for government customers. Iridium NEXT is also delivering on the promise of hosted payloads, which, with one of the most ambitious programs of its kind. Ariane is a revolutionary service for global aircraft operators and airlines that will enable real-time surveillance of aircraft worldwide. Our technology partner, Harris, is also utilizing space on the Iridium NEXT satellites, primarily for an AIS maritime tracking service that will be the best of its kind in the world. So to satellite production here, to produce the Iridium NEXT satellites, we've been working with Thales Alenia Space and their AINT partner, Orbital ATK. Thales Alenia designed a new satellite that you will see to our specification, consisting of something like 5,000 individual parts that Orbital ATK has assembled and tested, and comprising over the overall program something like 100,000 hours of workmanship by hundreds of engineers. Now, while the program has had some delays, it's a huge, complex program. It's really come together in the last 6 months or so. Specifically, during the last 3 months in this facility, the number of engineers working on construction of these satellites has doubled. And pulling from a great aerospace engineering talent in the Phoenix area, the team here plans on adding about 20 more engineers as production continues to ramp to complete more than 5 satellites rolling off the line here per month very shortly. Now, I'll let Bertrand and Frank talk more about the program, but suffice to say, what you are seeing today is a very unique way of making satellites. This isn't the way it's done elsewhere. In fact, the last time it was done this way was 20 years ago when Iridium created its first constellation coming out of Arizona. It is high volume manufacturing of satellites on a moving line, moving across, and really is the way, in many ways, that the Space 2.0 industry is talking about making satellites. So I'd say there's a lot of groundbreaking work that's been done here by us and our partners, and their expertise and success is really helping to advance the industry in these ways. So every milestone in the Iridium NEXT program has been exciting, but today's is especially memorable because it represents the culmination of everyone's hard work. It is saying that our satellites are done and ready to go. They're ready for space, and they will soon be on their way onto a SpaceX satellite. These first 2 satellites that we're going to show you this morning are ready to ship to Vandenberg Air Force Base for processing by SpaceX. As you'll hear, there's a few more out there, and in fact, many, many more, which will be completed literally in the next couple weeks. They have completed a very rigorous testing program of both the hardware and the software, and every component of these satellites has been verified for Operation Space. They've had a battery of manufacturing tests, from vibration and acoustic tests to thermal vacuum tests. Now, once they get out to Vandenberg Air Force Base, which is the responsibility, by the way, of Orbital ATK, they will be processed at the SpaceX processing facility there, where they will be fueled, and Orbital will perform final tests to ensure the vehicles integrate with the Falcon 9 rockets and are truly ready to go in space. As I said, they will be shipped 2 by 2. You're going to see the shipping containers that they ship in. They're shipped on a special truck that will be moving them to the base. It will keep going back and forth over the next couple weeks as additional satellites will be ready until all first 10 of our satellites are there, and they will be ready to go. Now, regarding the launch of the network, we're announcing today that we have a target launch date, a specific target launch date of September 12th, 2016. That will be a night launch in California. Now, I will say, while the satellites will be ready by late July, frankly, all the satellites will be completed and available, and they will be all out at the Air Force Bay and ready to go by say mid-August. The earliest launch date made available to Iridium from SpaceX and Vandenberg Air Force Base is September 12th, and at least we now know exactly when we will see these guys fly. Now, it's a little later than I hoped, to be honest with you, but there are a number of non-SpaceX launches planned in August and early September at Vandenberg. So that's the earliest they could give us for this launch. SpaceX is ready, the rocket's ready, the dispensers are ready, so that really isn't the issue. The issue really is the fact that the range has been closed for a while. Vandenberg is unusually busy in those 2 months, and so they're squeezing in a lot as really sort of the base opens up for launch, and at least we have a target to go to now. As you know, each batch of Iridium NEXT satellites will be launched into orbit on the back of a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. In total, there are 7 launches with SpaceX, each carrying 10 Iridium NEXT satellites into orbit. This makes Iridium SpaceX's largest commercial customer to date. Once these satellites are launched, these first 10 are launched, the teams will begin a 3-month period of testing in space, testing all the connections of the satellite and the operations of them and the ground infrastructure, ensure they're working properly before we commence our second launch, and then third, fourth, and fifth on roughly 60-day centers. All Iridium NEXT satellites are scheduled and planned, and we believe once we get these first launch off, we'll be on track to complete our constellation as scheduled in 2017. So it's going to be a very, very busy 18 months.
The 2 first satellites are ready to be delivered. The first batch of 10, as it was said, will be completed by July. I think 15, maybe a bit more, are in the 16 are actually in integration in front of you. As I was mentioning, production rate is today at 3 per month, and in the coming days or weeks, we'll reach 5 satellites per month in order to comply with the delivery schedule we are committed to. Something which is maybe not visible as hardware is that we have completed the system validation. I was mentioning the end-to-end complexity. It means that before launching the satellites, you have to demonstrate that the end-to-end performance, so the ability of the system to deliver the messages from one point to the other in due time and with the right level of quality, this end-to-end system validation has been completed with full compliance to the requirements. It has been done in the Chandler test system bed. I think we will visit altogether this center this afternoon. 4 million of working hours for TAS people, 10 million for the whole team, 10 million of working hours, 20 million of kilometers done by TAS people, by plane, back and forth. 100,000 documents. If you want me to repeat, I can do that. 100,000 documents, which means that if you put them one on top of the other, you will reach 3 kilometers high. Or another way, if you spread them page by page over the Sky Harbor airport, you will recover it. Just have to choose a day without wind, but I mean, just give you an idea. And 650 square meters of solar panels, and to finish with 70 tons of satellites to be launched. We have TAS as a prime benefiting from Iridium team experience that Matt was mentioning. All the best practices or wrong practices that has been seen during the first generation have been highlighted to us, and it clearly has avoided to do wrong things and to improve our own work. So I want to highlight this and to thank again in front of you, Matt, for this behavior, which is not so common. Obviously, it is not the end of the story, but I'm confident that we will match end of 2017 for the complete deployment of the constellations.
On behalf of the leadership team of Orbital ATK, Dave Thompson and Blake Larson, and the rest of our folks back at Dulles, I am very proud to show you what we're doing here. I also really appreciate our teammates, Iridium and Thales Alenia Space. This is an amazing way to work together and to do new things and to take new technology into a higher rate production and to work together to solve some very serious problems in order to get to this point where we are ready to deliver satellites. The leadership of Iridium and the experience in this area, as well as the leadership and experience of Thales Alenia Space in managing this type of high technology makes all the difference. Our team is proud to work with these folks and proud to be achieving what we are so far. Pretty soon, 1 satellite a week out this factory door, or virtually out the factory door. We'll hold on to them until we're ready to ship them and they're ready to launch them. But 1 a week is an amazing achievement for satellite production and something new in the world, but something that people are striving for in the future. And we think we're breaking some ground and setting some good examples. I'm very proud of our team here in Gilbert. But to our team here at Orbital ATK, a lot of hard work. You know, we have a saying, ignore the man behind the curtain. Okay, well, I don't want you to ignore these folks behind the pane. They're working hard to keep this high rate production going and to build these satellites as carefully with as much attention to detail as possible. And they are building as you're watching. And so this is actual operations in progress. They work a lot of long hours. They've had to solve a lot of tough problems. But with the efforts, again, of our teammates, it's gone really well, and we're very proud of what's happening here. We build a lot of other satellites here and elsewhere to support national defense, science satellites, other commercial endeavors. This is the largest constellation we have built, and it's on a commercial basis. And I think the commercial side of space is the future for this country and for the world. And Matt, we appreciate your leadership in keeping that going and bringing a new way of doing business to what is very important to the future and the economy of this country and to the rest of the world, and that's communications. But we do want to share with you what we're very proud of, and that's the accomplishment of a new exciting program that's going to launch very soon at a very high rate. 10 per mission, 70 satellites over the next less than 18 months is going to be an amazing accomplishment, and we're very excited about being a part of that. So again, thank you all for coming today. Welcome to our facility. Thank you very much to Iridium and Thales Alenia Space. It's been a great experience working with you, and we do appreciate the way that we all work together and solve problems.
Just join us at the end of the hallway in front of the INT bay. You'll see the first satellites and have a photo opportunity.
By the way, just one thing, you know, when by the way, my head of the program couldn't be here, he had a family loss, but as he said, there's a lot of technology and technical issues and actually acronyms being used, which we'll try not to use. But I did understand one when he called up about a month ago and he said, the first 2 satellites are done, done, done. And I've been using that because I know what done, done, done means. These satellites are done, 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 okay? And that's really, really important because we got a bunch more, and I want you to see what they look like and ready to go.